Real Madrid versus Liverpool, Kiev, Ukraine, May 26, 2018. A night that would carve itself into football history forever. Not for being perfect, but for being perfectly unforgettable. You see, in football, some finals are remembered because of pure quality, others because of controversy, and some because the universe decided to throw everything, brilliance, tragedy, memes, and drama into one chaotic cocktail. The 2018 Champions League final was all of that and more. It was a night that taught us football can be beautiful, brutal, and utterly ridiculous, sometimes all in the same 90 minutes. This final would have been unforgettable even without the Salah incident, but with it, it became legendary. Mohamed Salah wasn't just Liverpool's best player, he was the player of the season, breaking records, dazzling defenses, leading Liverpool's unlikely charge to the final. He wasn't just important, he was Liverpool. And then Sergio Ramos entered the story.
Out to him. He can get down that left-hand side every single time.
Salah stayed down here after the challenge by Sergio Ramos. The Real Madrid captain landed awkwardly on the Egyptian.
One tangled arm, one awkward fall, and Salah's shoulder and Liverpool's dreams were broken. This wasn't just an injury, it felt like a crime against football itself. In that moment, millions of fans, not just Liverpool fans, felt robbed. Salah's tears as he left the pitch are etched into the memory of football forever. And then came the debates. Was Ramos being cynical? Was it an accident, a tactical foul, or plain dirty? Depending on who you ask, Ramos either played like a champion or fought like a villain. But what's certain is this: no matter how much time passes, the Salah injury will always be one of the main reasons why this final will never fade from memory. It wasn't just a football injury, it was a seismic event. It shook Liverpool, it shook Egypt's World Cup hopes, and it shook the world. Before this night, Karius was known as a promising young goalkeeper. After this night, he became a cautionary tale. 2 mistakes, not minor mistakes, catastrophic ones.
Karius sends it forward here towards Benzema. He got the option to Marcelo. Oh, and then Karius, oh, it's gone in!
Oh no!
The kind you wouldn't expect at a Sunday league game, let alone the Champions League final. First, he tried to throw the ball casually past Karim Benzema, and instead threw it into him. Benzema scored one of the strangest goals you'll ever see in a final. But the horror didn't end there.
Really well, but he's just fatigued a little bit, and Chan's got to bring some new energy.
Oh, there's a shot, oh, he shot it!
Later, Gareth Bale sent a speculative long-range shot flying towards Karius. It wasn't a thunderbolt, it wasn't unstoppable, and yet Karius flapped at it like a man trying to catch a slippery fish and punched it into his own net. The world watched in disbelief. At first, people laughed, then they cried, and when it came out that Karius had suffered a concussion earlier in the match, possibly explaining the mistakes, the story turned from funny to heartbreaking. This final is unforgettable because it reminds us that footballers, they're human, glorious in victory, tragic in failure. Karius wasn't just a goalkeeper that night, he became a symbol of how quickly dreams can crumble on the biggest stage. In a final full of chaos, at least one moment of pure unfiltered magic rose above it all: Gareth Bale's bicycle kick. Bale had been angry, benched for the biggest match of the year, desperate to prove a point, and when he came on, he unleashed one of the most outrageous goals in football history. An overhead kick so perfect, so stunning, that even rival fans had no choice but to admire it. You could watch that goal 1,000 times and still shake your head in disbelief. This wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. It was art, and it instantly became part of Champions League legend. When you talk about Kiev 2018, you have to talk about Bale's goal. Because for all the sadness and controversy of that night, there was also pure, breathtaking beauty. Real Madrid weren't just defending champions, they were building a dynasty. This final marked their 3rd consecutive Champions League win, a feat that hadn't been seen since Bayern Munich's in the 1970s. Under Zinedine Zidane, Real Madrid had turned the Champions League into their private playground. And that's part of why this final is unforgettable. It wasn't just a match, it was the end of an era. the last great moment before Zidane left, before Ronaldo moved to Juventus, before Bale's career descended into golf jokes. Meanwhile, for Liverpool, it was the beginning. The heartbreak of Kiev, it planted the seeds for future triumphs. Without 2018's pain, there's no 2019's glory. A year later, Liverpool returned, stronger, angrier, wiser, and won the Champions League. The loss in Kiev wasn't a full stop, it was a comma, a necessary step on their road to becoming champions. Kiev 2018 wasn't just a match, it became a cultural phenomenon. Memes exploded online, from Karius' blunder to Ramos's dark arts. Sports shows and newspapers around the world debated every moment. Egypt mourned Salah's injury like a national tragedy, and Liverpool fans, in classic style, turned heartbreak into humour and defiance. Even today, mention Karius and someone will make a bad joke. Mention Ramos and someone will rant about dirty tactics. This final, it lives on, not because it was flawless, but because it touched every corner of the footballing world. Above all, the 2018 Champions League final is unforgettable because it showed football's two faces: glory and heartbreak, triumph and tragedy, heroes and villains. And sometimes, the same man can be both, depending on your perspective. It showed that even the best can fail, even the favourites can suffer, that even the greatest stage can turn into a nightmare. And it showed that sometimes it's the imperfect nights, the messy, chaotic, painful nights that stick with us the longest. When we look back at Kiev 2018, we don't just remember a match, we remember a story of a king dethroned, of a villain crowned, of a prince who flew through the air and scored the goal of his life, of a young goalkeeper who lived every footballer's worst nightmare. The 2018 Champions League final will never be forgotten, not because it was perfect, but because it was real, because it was human, and because it reminded us why we love football in the first place.